Hello. Welcome to I Am Wisdom with your host, Katrina Cavanough. I Am Wisdom is all about the connection between mind work and energy work, spirituality, and finding easy, everyday ways to heal your life. Katrina Cavanough is a qualified therapist and one of Australia's leading intuitives and spirituality coaches. Katrina will be taking your calls and bringing you some special guests. Settle in, relax, and enjoy the healing on I Am Wisdom with Katrina Cavanough on OMTimes Radio.
Hi, this is I Am Wisdom and you're listening to Katrina Cavanough. Thank you very much for joining me. What is this evening in the United States and the Northern Hemisphere, and what is, it's now the middle of the day here in Australia, so we're right on noon, our lunchtime. It's a beautiful, beautiful sunny day, and we've just had several days of torrential rain. It's just been the most, and storm, like wind, and it's just been really, really just horrible storm conditions, and but we've gotten through that. I personally love the rain and I like the weather, and the reason why I have the luxury to like the rain is that I'm really fortunate to live in a gorgeous home that has, it's a gorgeous 3-bedroom cottage, and our little cottage has a wonderful thing that we call a roof, and that roof and the walls and the windows and keep us nice and warm and keep us nice and dry. So today, this week, as we've gone through this really stormy weather, what I'm reminded of is that just how grateful I am to have such a wonderful place to live and to live safely. We certainly don't have a mansion, but it's our home and we like it very much, and I'm very, very grateful. So welcome to the show. Today's show, we're going to be talking about body image and how we can transcend some of the negative messages that we all collect along the way. I'm going to share with you my story and then give you a few ideas, or actually really one central idea about one of the most effective ways to really recognize and then heal the messages that we've received from day one of our life about our body and its function, our body, and most importantly, its attractiveness, its beauty. Because when I work with people, what's important to me is I help them to feel comfortable in their own skin. Number one, it's really important. And one of the key things about that is, or one of the key ways that people actually make that kind of progress is when they, if they're someone who does actually have body issues, that they're able to be at peace with that and find a place where they just really, I'm not going to say love your body, but you're very welcome, where you get to a place where you're able to nurture your body, like it's nurturing your body. That's the thing that's really important. And more than that, it's about being able to walk freely and live freely within your own body. So you don't feel encumbered. You know that feeling? I mean, I know the feeling. I'm going to share with you my story soon. I used to feel very encumbered by my body. I just felt it said so much about me and really defined me, and certainly defined my attractiveness to the opposite sex and my worth almost, as a young woman finding my way in the world. So I'm very grateful that I've moved past that, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that story with you. Before I get into that, I wanted to share with you another story of my amazing weekend or trip to a rural location that's close to my home. Well, it's close, meaning in Australia, it's not uncommon to travel, 3 or 4 hours to get somewhere out west. And whilst that's considered a little bit of a trip, it's not, a lot of people zip here and zip there, and 3 or 4 hours is nothing. So I had for a few months ago, I had a deep calling within myself. I just really felt the need to go out to the country. I live on the coast. I live in a very beautiful area on the coast, but I did for a time live in Bathurst, which is a rural town, as I've said. And there's the smell of the country air, the feeling of your feet as you crunch across the gravel, the look of beautiful, because it's autumn here in Australia, so the gorgeous golden colours of the autumn leaves, and just that crispness that's in the air as the temperatures getting colder. I love that, and it's almost like when I'm there, I can feel my body really responding to being in that kind of atmosphere. It just feels lovely, and that's obviously why I lived there for 10 years. So I just, every now and again, I need to go out and get my dose of country air. So I felt a need, felt the calling a few months ago. And at the same time, I've been having a few things happen in my life where I'm really refocusing on my physical health. And I have been setting intentions about this year being a year where I focus on my physical health, where I actually, improve my physical health. I reduce the amount of stress that I carry in my body and just heal from those kind of things, because we always carry our stress. And certainly for me, my earlier life, my traumatic experiences, we carry that within our body. It's been proven time and time again that we manifest physically that which we're thinking and feeling about. So, I have been set the intention. So due to true to form, sorry, is the phrase, isn't it? True to form, I set the intention to go out. Straight away, I put the word out that I'd be coming out there, and if anyone would like a consultation with me, then they could do that. They could book me in. I also I knew that I would go out alone without my girls and my husband. It was something it just felt right for me to do it that way. And whilst I would miss my girls and my husband very much, as it would be the first time I was away from them since, many years ago when I did the filming for the TV show. I never go away from my children. I just knew intuitively that this was an important thing for me to do. So off I went, and I went out to Bathurst. Before I went, I put the word out that I was going to be there, and I had a day full of consultations booked out completely. I had also accommodation, and I said, because I'm focusing on adjusting, really getting better physically, and not that I'm well, but it's I just wanted to feel even healthier than I do now. And as I was leaving, I said to my spiritual team, if you recall the show I did last week, which was about signs from the universe, I said to my spiritual team, I'm setting the intention that I will have a safe journey, that when I arrive, my accommodation will be just lovely. Because, I was staying in an old building that had been renovated. And so I'm always curious about places, do they have any residual energy? It's a bit of a drag to have to go in and do a bit of a cleanse before you even get there. But I wanted a place that had a really nice feeling about it in a style that I liked. I'd found a place that I thought fit the bill, but you never know until you're there. And so off I went. I set the intention that I would have that. I said to my spiritual team, I need to check in with you. I want you to give me a sign that I'm going to arrive safely, that the accommodation will be just lovely, that I will be able to be of service to the people that I see in the most profound way. And it would just be an overall relaxing experience. I said to them, I want to receive the sign of a mother duck and her ducklings, not a cartoon character, but a real duck. So as I drove along, I was listening to some podcasts by a fellow called Osher Gunsberg. Now, if you're looking for a really interesting podcast series to listen to, I would highly recommend. He's a very well-known celebrity here in Australia. He's done quite a bit of stuff in the States as well. But if you're looking for a great podcast, now Osher, he actually interviews the most amazing and interesting people, and is able to draw from them some really interesting content, really interesting stories. So if you're looking to follow a podcast, I would recommend his podcast. You can find it at oshergunsberg.com, which is www, of course, oshergunsberg.com. Anyway, I was listening to his podcast. He's got about 70 episodes, and I was flicking through. I've listened to a few already, about 4 or 5. So I was flicking through the rest of them, and I just selected someone's name. I didn't know who they were. And was listening. It was the story of this beautiful woman who, is really into raw food. And as she was describing he was asking her about her childhood, and as she was describing her childhood, she talked about living on the farm, that they had all these kinds of animals, including, a family of ducks, a mother and the ducklings, and they would waddle around, and how much the family loved these ducks. So there you go, right? Within half an hour of me leaving home, there was my sign. And I was just so grateful and absolutely the whole trip was exactly like that. I went out there and I had the best, the most beautiful accommodation, really, really restored in a way that I love. I love old style things. I love antiques, but I also like that fresh, neutral, and very simple kind of look. And it was all of those things. And one of the most amazing miracles is this. When I arrived, I'd had someone actually cancel, and at the time that they cancelled, I received a message of, it's okay someone's cancelled, because it will all work out. It felt like it was a bit for a purpose, but I couldn't work out what that meant. So I went along and thought, that's okay, they've cancelled, that's fine. When I arrived, the woman who actually who owns the place, her name is Catherine McDowell, she I may have mispronounced your name, Catherine. If I have, sorry. We'll get your correct name. You'll hear more about Catherine here on the show later, in episodes to come. But it turns out that I arrived at a place, and Catherine came in and she said, "Oh, I'll have your booking. I'll have that cancellation. Or if you got one free, I'll have one." I said, "Well, actually, I do. I've got a cancellation." And she said, "Great, I'll have that spot." So we shared some time together, and what was revealed to me was that Catherine is a herbalist who specialises in treating horses, so equine herbalist, and also people. So here I am in Bathurst at a beautiful location with a day full of people that I have an opportunity to be of service to, with a person who is a herbalist who specialises in healing, who is extremely spiritual in the way I understand spirituality to be. And this is where I've landed. I cannot tell you, there was too many things that really fell into place, and I obviously don't believe in coincidences. I believe that it was all part of what I was meant to experience. And what unfolded to me was a wonderful day where I was able to be of service to so many beautiful people, stay in some lovely accommodation, and really share time with Catherine, and she made me feel very welcome. I'm going to continue at the show. The break's coming up, and I'm going to talk to you more after the break. Stay with me. You're listening to I Am Wisdom with Katrina Cavanough.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Hi, my name is Monica and I'm the host of Co-Creating Now. Give yourself an opportunity to connect with your all-knowing higher self and manifest joy, love and peace together every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi, it's Katrina Cavanough here, and you're listening to I Am Wisdom here on OMTimes Radio. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Today we're going to be, if you've just tuned in, today we're going to be talking about the area of body image and feeling good about our bodies and feeling good in our bodies. So, and I'm going to begin by sharing with you my story The reason why I was inspired to share with you my story was that I did a post back in December last year on Facebook, on my Facebook page, and I talked about the way that for so long, I shared with my experience that for so long I had hated my body. For many, many years I hated my body. I look now at my body and I think, goodness me, I see my body as a beautiful, miraculous creation. But really, for many, many years, it wasn't that way. I basically walked around with a real deep disappointment, a sense of shame, and a really strong sense of self-loathing about my body. And I know that the pain that I felt in my childhood contributed to that, and certainly it didn't help that in my early teenage years, against the backdrop of a lot of other forms of child abuse, I was also given clear messages about the fact that my body was ugly and fat. I had a step-parent who used to say those words to me on a regular basis. She would say to me, "Katrina, you are ugly, you are fat." And so directly stand in front of me. So, whilst that's very sad that she was such a deeply hurt person that she would have to say those things, as a teenager, it really did cut me deeply, and part of me knew that wasn't true, that it was her being cruel. However, when you're that age and it's against the backdrop of, not feeling great about yourself, not feeling wanted, not feeling nurtured or cared for, those things hit what is an already open and raw wound, that's existing within you. So that didn't help. I had that experience. The other thing that happened for me was, so I had that stuff, kind of the years and years of messages and not feeling great anyway as a person. The other thing that happened for me was that if you ever meet me or see me, you'll know really quickly that I am very tiny. So in height, I'm a very, very tiny petite female. So I sit at I think I'm about 4'9". I did a prac placement at a jail once at Bathurst, at a jail. Well, that's when I was living in Bathurst. And I remember the inmates measured me. It's quite an interesting place to get measured. And we all worked out that I was 4'9". So, I'm a very tiny person. And whilst now, I'm aware that, we're all come in different shapes and sizes, and that the only value you place on something is the value that you place yourself. So you're all about your perception. Back then as a child and certainly as a teenager, other kids can be pretty cruel, and, there'd be regular, nearly daily comments about Katrina, about my height. So I grew up with a combination of that tricky childhood experience with my family, and then on top of my parents, I should say, not my family, and then on top of that, my experiences of being taunted in the playground. Despite all that, I just kept on being me, and I always had lots of lovely friends, or a few key friends, and I was always very friendly with everyone else, and I was the child that people would come and talk to with their problems, and hence obviously my natural career direction as a therapist and helping people. But it was something that I really struggled with my body for so long because of all of those reasons. When you have abandonment and rejection by your mum and then eventually your father, it just really does impact on you, and it leaves you with a feeling of being not good enough overall as a person, and all the residual kind of, or the impact of that, including depression, anxiety, and you just end up feeling worthless, really. And I know that there are people listening right now that really know what I'm talking about. You may have, just the experience of, childhood abandonment and emotional neglect, and that's enough. That's enough. You may also have had the verbal kind of abuse that I had, of name calling and put downs and really, direct criticism of your body. And you may also have had, experiences where you may have some slight physical difference, and I call it a point of difference now because I know the value of it. But, back then it felt like this heavy, heavy weight. And so if you're listening and you've had those experiences, then this show is for you. This conversation is for you. I'm not sure why I decided to talk about this today. I actually had another topic planned, and then at the last moment a few hours ago, I just changed it over, really. So for some reason, I'm meant to be talking about this today, because someone out there is meant to be hearing it. I know that when I put a post on Facebook and shared my own experiences, I had a phenomenal result from people. People really identified with it. They really were very grateful that I was so open and honest and shared my story. And it helped them to feel better about themselves and helped them to make sense of their own experiences too. The sad thing is that after all of that, I really stepped into my early 20s as someone who felt that my body was unattractive, that it was repulsive to the opposite sex, and that I just wasn't enough. And, and what could I do? It was me, it's who I am, and I can't change it, can I? I can't grow more, and, I can't change that. So what's amazing when I look back now is that, and this provides me with such a great sense of relief, is that I can say that I consciously began to change the way I was thinking and feeling about my body over the last 10 years. I made a decision just a few years before I started having my children. That was all around about the time when I was working at the hospital too. If you know my story, and I was working a lot with death and dying. So it was around about that time that I just realized, I realized that my body was really a series of miracles, that it was my body that gave me life, that it was my lungs' capacity to breathe air in and my beating heart, it just every part of my body, that it was really, really, really wonderful. And as I've worked through some other areas of self-healing, I've been doing a lot of healing before that, but as I'd worked through some other areas of healing, I just felt greater and greater freedom. And of course, that freedom kind of spilled over to me really, really feeling a greater sense of freedom about my body. I guess like with all pain and trauma, I've had some reparatory experiences as well. And by that I mean, relationships, experiences that have really repaired, helped to repair, the previous messages that I've received. And this is what we know as a trauma therapist. What I know is that a lot of the healing work that gets done in other relationships where you experience that kind of reparatory experience, right? So I've been fortunate to have a relationship with a man for the past 17 years, my husband. It is my husband, it's not the other man. I'm only joking. So I've had this wonderful relationship with my husband, where one of the gifts that he's given me is that he's given me constant, not constant as in every day, but consistent messages that I'm attractive, consistent messages that he finds me attractive, and that, I think I've described before, if you've been to any of my workshops or you're an individual client, you'll know that when I talk about my husband, I do describe him as a sensualist, which is men and women who are what I describe as a sensualist, are people who really enjoy the physical form. They are sensually connected to their partner, and it doesn't really matter what their partner looks like. They just enjoy every aspect of their partner's being and body. Obviously, this relates in with sex as well, and sexual experiences. So yeah, I'm very fortunate to have a man who really enjoys the female form, yay, and really is someone who can appreciate the beauty of a woman, or in this case, me. No matter what's really going on. I've been a lot heavier in my weight, lots and lots more kilos, and he says to me, "I didn't even see it." It's very cute. "I didn't even see that you were heavier. It never struck me." He goes, "I can look now and see that. I see you now, and the kilos have shifted. And I look at other photos. I can see the difference, but at the time, I don't see it. I just see you. And I'm attracted to you, and you're beautiful and you're gorgeous." And he just doesn't see anything. One of the other things I have with my body is that I had a really deep scar on my tummy from an operation that I had to have when I was 6 years of age. And they did not a very good job. The surgeon didn't, repair me very well, and the stitching's quite significant, and it actually goes right in and sort of cuts into my stomach. So there's like an indent almost in my tummy. It's quite noticeable on one side. And for years and years and years, I was so paranoid about this scar. And look, today I forget that it's even there. And so, and I've said to him, but I have this scar on my tummy, But what I've learned over the years, and certainly in my work with couples as well, is that, and obviously, I've had training in the area of sex and sexuality and sensuality. What I know for sure is that if you have a connection with a partner and, if you stand there naked before your partner, it takes a very rare person to not appreciate what they're seeing. And that is that they're seeing you open and vulnerable, and they are willing and wanting to be there for you, and that they are looking at the essence of you. And, men are visual creatures, and, the female form is just lovely to them. So I think it's the women too that we get very caught up in, what we think and what we think about what we look like. So once again, it comes back to that really central wisdom. That's one of the wisdoms in my book, that the most crucial point that we have about our bodies is not really how our bodies really are, not really whether our bodies are in alignment with, what society says is the most beautiful female form. What's really important is how we perceive ourselves and how we feel about ourselves at all times. So we're coming up to a break soon. I'm just going to keep talking for a little bit longer, but we'll be coming up for a break. And after the break, I'm going to talk with you about the steps I think that I did take, and certainly the steps that I want to encourage you to take if you are hearing this story and relating to it. Because what I want you to know is that if you are looking at your body right now in the mirror and going, I don't like that, or gosh, I'm ugly, or gosh, I'm not this, or I'm not that, and not liking what you see, if you feel badly, if you feel the pain of self-loathing, then I want you to stay listening and to consider the steps that I'm about to share with you. Very, very simple steps that you can take that will help you to shift the way you think and feel about yourself. So stay with me. From my heart to yours, I'll be talking to you after the break.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Radio Namaste leads you down the yellow brick road into portals of consciousness with the blue-collar goddess as your host. Interviews with humans who could be famous or just popular, and answers to everything are on the agenda. Tune into OMTimes Radio and drop in on Thursdays at 3 Eastern. It's a different brand of enlightenment.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Hi, you're listening to I Am Wisdom with Katrina Cavanough, and today we're talking about body image and how we feel about ourselves. I've just shared with you some of my story. I mean, that's a really brief version. Anyone who's been to any of my workshops or come to see me will tell you I could talk about that forever. However, today what I'm wanting to do is to give you some key strategies that you can actually apply in your own life if what I've said to you is something that you relate to. If you two are walking around and you're not feeling about your body the way that you would like to, if when you think and feel about your body or even catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror, you then tell yourself a whole lot of negatives about what you see and what you think and how you should be this and you shouldn't be that, and I should be less weight, of course, less weight. As for women, we're always talking about less weight. If we're men, we're always talking about needing more bulk and muscle mass and all that kind of thing. So it's very much socially conditioned, those beliefs, and the pressure that we put on ourselves is immense. If you add to that some family experiences like I've experienced of some abandonment, that will also impact on how you feel about yourself. If you add to that some verbal abuse and name calling, that will also increase that. And then if you add to that, if you happen to have some kind of physical part of you that isn't in alignment with the stereotypical good-looking person, then of course you're going to feel some awareness about that, okay? So I wanted to share with you some strategies because, and as I share these with you, I really felt the need to say that these come from my heart, obviously intellectually as well, but they come from my heart to your heart, and if you're listening, I want you to try to practice some of these. The way I work when I work with people is I say to them, I don't consider myself to be telling you what to do. I don't consider myself to be the expert. You are the expert in your own life. I'm facilitating a process. My job is to give you strategies to take into your own life, try them on, give them a go, and then you will know whether they fit for you. And I always say to the people I work with, come back and tell me and say, oh, Katrina, that was ridiculous. Oh, my God, that's not for me. I'm not a journal person. I don't write. Don't ask me to journal again. Or you might come back and say, I tried that and it's kind of, I'm not sure yet, if that's me. Or you might come back and say, thanks for that, that's great. My job is to give you strategies for you to try, and then you get to come back and we work on it. And we keep working on it until we find the right fit for you. Okay, so all of my job is to support you to find the right fit for you. So let me talk about some of the strategies. The first point I would like to say is I want you to apply your lens of understanding. Now, I've spoken about this in previous episodes. I've got an article both on Balance by DeborahHutton.com.au and mariashriver.com about the idea of the layers of our thinking and how it's really important to come from a place of understanding about the thoughts that we have about what's happening, and obviously in this case the thoughts that we have about ourselves. So if you're there and you're feeling full of self-criticism, and those thoughts, they fire pretty fast, don't they? I should be this, I should be that, I should be do. So what I want you to do is allow yourself to also think, it's understandable that I feel and think about my body in this way right now. Okay? I want you to hear that again. It is based on my experiences so far. This is the sentence. Based on my experiences so far, it is understandable that I would be feeling self-loathing, that I would be feeling not so good, that I would be feeling, and thinking that my body isn't good enough. So these thoughts that I'm having, which are just thoughts, they're just perceptions, they are understandable based on what I know about myself and understand about myself so far, okay? Why I ask you to use that way, that type of thinking, is that what happens is we do things to ourselves. So we think the negative thought, so we were really self-critical, that's one level, and then we add another layer to that, which is being critical about the fact that we're being critical. Okay, so we have a very self-critical thought, as in, gosh, I'm fat and I need to lose weight. Okay, then on top of that, we say to ourselves, I shouldn't be saying that. That's really mean. I shouldn't be saying that to myself. What am I saying that to myself for? So can you see how there's two layers of cruelty to ourselves, really? What I'm encouraging you to do is, when you're having those thoughts of, gosh, I'm fat and I need to lose weight, and look at me, I look ridiculous. What I want you to do is allow that thought comes, that's okay. And then on top of that, I want you to apply that thought of, you know what, it's understandable that I'm thinking and feeling this way. It's understandable that I'm thinking and feeling bad about the fact that I've got weight on right now, because based on my life so far, of course I'm going to be thinking and feeling bad thoughts about myself, right? So can you see the softness of that? Can you see that therein lies a point of compassion, right? You've been self-critical, but we're putting over that this gorgeous experience, or around it, we're wrapping that in this gorgeous experience of compassion. And what that means is that softness creates an access point for you to start to feel better about yourself. Okay, so that's the first thing. When you're having negative thoughts about yourself, please open yourself up to that one beautiful thought, which is, based on what I've experienced so far, it is understandable that I am feeling this way, okay? That's the first thing. So wrapping ourselves with compassion and understanding. The next step I want to talk about is, I encourage the people that I talk to, particularly when it comes to many things, but let's talk about, we're talking about body image here. What I get people to do is I get them to go home, or if they're feeling a bit fragile, I'll sometimes do it in session, but go home and excuse me, I need my lemon water. Remember, I've always got that handy. Yum, yum. What I ask people to do is go home and write a list of all of the messages that you received. So for example, it might be, I'm too solid. I'm too fat. In my case, I'm too small, I'm too short. Or my skin isn't nice, or my ears are too big, or my lips aren't okay, or gosh, whatever the list is of things that's wrong with your physical body, I want you to write that down on a piece of paper. The next step is, I then want you to write down beside that, who told you that? Where did that come from? Okay, because I can tell you for sure and certain that it didn't come from you. Babies are not born thinking, I'm fat, right? They do not come onto the planet, cry, and their first words are, Mama, I think I'm fat. They come onto the planet thinking that everything's okay until they're shown that it's not. Okay, so I want you to write a list of, where did that come from, or who said that to you, okay? The next column, I want you to answer this question. I want you to go through every single one of those items that you've listed, and I want you to look at it and say, is this true? Okay, is this true? For example, mine is, I'm a really tiny person, I'm too short. So is it true? Yes, it is. It is true. Okay. Katrina, you're fat. Is that true? No. I have, 1 or 2 extra, or in my, because I'm only tiny, so, a couple of kilos looks bigger on me, but I've got, 3 or 4 extra kilos. Have some extra kilos. Yep, that's fat, but who I am is not fat, no. So I would say, yep, a little bit of weight, but really no, I'm not fat, Then what I want you to do is, for every single one of those items where you have said, for every single one of those items where you've said, yes, that's true, I then want you to write next to that, and what does that mean? So what, okay? And what can I do about it? Is there anything I can do about it? Now, for example, with weight, because that's the big one that everyone worries about, is there anything you can do about it? The truth is there probably is, okay? But what I would say to you is, weight is a psychological experience, and for most people. And so until I've got people that come into my coaching practice and they say, look, I really want you to coach me and support me to lose weight. And I say, I'm absolutely there for you. Yep, we will do that, absolutely. But let's begin where we need to begin, which is how you're thinking and feeling. Because it's the psychology of weight that keeps the weight on, and it's the psychology of weight that brings the weight back to you, even if you lose it. So unless we get our head right around it, then, and heal whatever it is that's contributing, that's driving our behaviours around food, then then really not much will change, because that's the kind of work that needs to be done. So if the answer is, so can we change it? Yes, no. If the answer is yes, then we look at a treatment plan, or we look at your options of what you need to do about changing it. Obviously for me, with my height, I can't make myself grow, right? So for all the items you have left on your list where it's a no, I can't change it, what you're left with is an opportunity to nurture yourself anyway. And we give thanks, to the universe for giving us in this lifetime the opportunity to care for yourself and nurture yourself and have some regard for yourself anyway. So that's one of the processes, and I hope you find that helpful. The other point, the next step that I wanted to share with you is the idea that it's important to have a deep sense of appreciation for the function of your body. So I'm not talking about the aesthetics of what it actually looks like. I'm talking about the function of your body. And for many, many people, that is a really good place to start, because how many people walk around and think to themselves, goodness me, I'm so great. Look at my feet. I have these amazing things called feet and toes and legs that are giving me motion. I can be active, I can walk, I can get from point A to point B, all because of this body that I have has these amazing things called legs and feet and toes. So what I encourage people to do, and I have a meditation that I can do with them, is I encourage them to really be aware of the magnificence of every single part of their body, and from the perspective of its function. So we have a heart that beats and gives us life. We have air, we have lungs that take in and expel air that again give us life. We have cells within our body that are constantly reproducing themselves. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. We have hands that allow the sense of touch. We have all our senses, our beautiful 5 senses, and for those of us who are aware, our 6th sense too. We have all our senses, and we can really so I just got a message. I need to talk to you about the energy of this too. So I'll add that onto our list of things to talk about today. I didn't have that planned, but I have to talk to you about the energy work that needs to be done. I'll talk to you after the break about that. But we have these amazing hands that can, create so many things. Our phenomenal brains that are just masterpieces and that we don't truly understand. So I encourage people to engage in meditation and in a daily thought practice that reflects on the series of miracles that represent the function of our bodies. Coming up after the break, I'm going to give you some more steps in this process, and I'm going to continue our conversation here on I Am Wisdom with Katrina Cavanough.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Hi, it's Katrina Cavanough here, and you're listening to I Am Wisdom here on OMTimes Radio. So today we're in the final quarter of our show, and today we've been talking about your body and your body image and how you feel about your body. And I've shared with you my story, so if you're just, tuning in live, then please feel free to download the podcast later and listen to the earlier part of the show, which is all about my story and my experience. And you will see that, I had my own personal experience, but I've also worked with lots of people over the years, and my personal experience I haven't really shared often. I don't really disclose much in my clinical work with people or my coaching work with people, because it's my role at that time to hear their story and be there for them. And, me sharing my story, well, it's kind of a little bit not the right place. So I don't obviously share that, but I am more sharing my experiences and my story here in social media and on blogs and stuff, because I think it helps people to know that, there is a person on the planet who's felt and experienced that deep, in this example, that deep sense of self-loathing, and being able to emerge out of that and really feel good about themselves, really feel good about themselves. And in this area, really feel good about your body. So I'm very, very pleased to have been able to, in this one area of my life, really, really succeed, and not succeed as in my body's any different, but, succeed as in, just to enjoy and cherish my body for all that it is. Today I look in the mirror and I can look over my body and I can say, just at the moment I've managed to add a few kilos back on, and I can look and see the wobbling and the jiggling and stuff. And that's okay. It's okay. And when I stand really, really still and just stare at the feminine form that I am, I'm mesmerized really by its beauty. I look at my breasts and I think my breasts are amazing. I have family. We have not in my line, but in a line within my family, there's the BRCA gene. And so there's been a lot of breast cancer in my family, and that has been extremely sad and terrifying for those that are involved and those that love the members of our family. And for me, it's given me a deeper appreciation. So when I stare and I look at my beautiful breasts, I'm just really grateful that they're there, and I'm grateful that to have them. I look at the few lines that I have that are stretch marks left over from the birth of my babies, and I'm so grateful that my body was able to carry two babies, that within my body created life. And I'm very, very grateful because, obviously all the work I've done in the hospital, I know how tricky it can be to even get a baby on the planet. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for that. So just from those 2 points of view, that, I have this amazing body that gives me life, and I've got an amazing body that's given life to two beautiful girls. Well, seriously, is there anything else that's better than that, really? Not really. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm very, very grateful for my body. So the other two things that I wanted to, so now we're going through some strategies, right, on how we can improve our body. I've already given you a few before the break, and I've just got two more to go. And then I'm going to finish up by telling you some wonderful things. So the next step is that once you've applied the lens of understanding, you've written a list to identify where the messages have come from, and then addressed what you can. You then move into a deep sense of appreciation for the function of your body, which is what I was just talking about then. It's really important to find ways to nurture your body. So, the usual things, it's not rocket science here. So we're talking about good, nutritious food, some hydration, so enough water to hydrate your body, and then what I call movement, which it's a common word. It's not my word or anything, but I like that word. I like movement because I don't like the word exercise. I'm not a fan of exercise because I was never good at it. That was the other thing. I was always a bit uncoordinated, so I was never great at sport. So, the movement thing, I like the word movement rather than exercise. So just find ways to move your body. For me, I'm a huge fan of walking. I don't get to do enough of it, but I'm a huge fan of that. That for me is my preferred style of exercise. But, it's important for you to find a way to move your body. Just move your body somehow. And then I guess another way to nurture your body in an important way is to pamper your body. So, yes, I am talking about massages. I'm talking about going to the beauty therapist. I'm talking about, having beautiful organic lotions to apply to your body. All of those things. I was just talking to a beautiful person that I speak to regularly the other day, and she was telling me about a woman here in Australia who she's a makeup artist, and she only ever uses organic makeup. Now, that excites me. That excites me to think that there's someone here on the planet, here in Australia, who said, you know what, I'm going to be putting some creams and lotions and powders on people's faces, and I am choosing to make sure that the makeup that I use is all organic. So I think that there's a lot in that really excites me because it nurtures the body. It makes the whole process a nurturing experience. It also creates a beautiful look for people to look in the mirror. And, I've had I've been very fortunate to have, photo shoots done and all the media stuff. So you get your face and hair done on a regular basis. And so, it's lovely. I love that experience. That's pampering in itself. And so, it's finding ways to pamper yourself. It may be you come home and you have a nice soaking bath or a nice warm shower, or you put your feet in soak your feet for a little bit, or whatever it is for you. Just find ways of nurturing your body, okay? Now, the last strategy that I've been guided, if you recall, before the break to talk to you about is the energy work that's important to do. So what I would encourage you to do from an energetic point of view is to just really close your eyes and do a quick scan, take a few deep breaths and just intuitively scan over your body and see where there's any heavier kind of energy. And all that energy is your fear. It's just the imprint of your fear. So say, for example, you think you're fat. Okay, so we'll go with weight because it's a big one for people. So I would say to you that around the areas in your body where you are actually feeling, where you can see there's weight on, there would be some residual fear energy around there. Okay, like an imprint just left. Okay, so what I want you to do is just take 3 deep breaths, do a scan of your body, see where there's any leftover residual heavy energy from your, tricky thoughts, and give your body a beautiful white light cleanse where you see the white light falling down and through your body from above, from the universe, washes down and through you and then returns to the earth. And as it does, it clears away any of that fear, any of that worry, any of that self-criticism. And it returns it to the earth, and the beautiful earth transmutes that into compassion and nurturing and love, okay? So I would encourage you to do that, and I would encourage you then to put a bubble around yourself of beautiful white or pink light and set the intention that from this moment forward, that any thought that you have that is self-critical, because we'll all have them, it happens sometimes still, not much these days for me, but, any thought that you have that is critical about your body, that instantly, from an energetic point of view, it is transmuted into compassionate, nurturing energy. So that allows you the freedom and the flexibility to have those thoughts. You've set that intention so that you'll no longer be left with that residual fear-based energy around those parts of your body that you've been critical of. So I hope those steps are helpful for you. Please feel free to write to me. I get emails all the time. I received just a highlight from today's lot of emails, because it's been a few. I received a lovely email. I haven't got permission to name the person as yet, but if I can, I'll share with you then their details. But just let me explain this beautiful email. This person's gone and read my book, and she said to me, they've said to me, Katrina, I've finished your book that I stumbled across unexpectedly. I read it in one sitting. I'm sure you hear that a lot. Its timing was extraordinary. I simply wanted to ask a few questions, and then they talk about organising a consultation with me. And then in the end, they say, "Thank you for sharing your amazing ability, insight, and unbelievable compassion for others. I would give anything to have you as a mentor in my life." Now, I can't tell you what that felt like. It felt really beautiful. So if you would like to send me an email, feel free to email me at connect at katrinacavanough.com. Visit me at my website at katrinacavanough.com. Cavanough is spelled Cavanoughh. You can also please sign up to my my Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Katrina Cavanough, Cavanoughh, like my page, and you'll receive lots of lovely notices and words of inspiration for each day. And if my new excitement is Instagram, so if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, it is _Katrina Cavanough, so _ Katrina and then Cavanough, Cavanoughh. So I'd love to connect with you. I love receiving your feedback. It's really helpful for me as far as developing the show goes. And so if you can, and if you wish to reach out to me, please do so. I work across the globe. I provide consultations both here in Australia. In my offices, I have an office in Wollongong, an office down in Nowra, which is further south, and I visit Bondi, which is a beautiful suburb of Sydney, on a regular basis. So if you'd like to access me there, or maybe you'd like to have a Skype consultation, any of these ways of connecting with me work, and they give me opportunities to be of service to you. So if you'd like to find out more about that, then just hop onto any one of those platforms, my website, or send me an email, and we can connect in that way. And it's just a lovely way to work with people. I love it. That just about finishes our show. I wish you the best week ever. Next week's show is going to be wonderful. Same time. This is now my regular time. Namaste. From my heart to yours. Enjoy your week.